Welcome back to the channel. Today we're diving deep into the PlayStation 2 library. Not the usual heavy hitters you've heard 1,000 times, but the games that slipped through the cracks, the ones worth discovering in 2025. The PS2 was a giant, with thousands of titles, but some of the best stories and mechanics lived outside the spotlight. These are the forgotten treasures, the games that deserve your attention again. So sit back, enjoy the ride, and if you love exploring hidden gems and underrated classics, don't forget to subscribe. It helps us grow this community and keeps these forgotten titles alive. Imagine being trapped in a collapsing city after an earthquake. Disaster Report, released in 2003, put you in the shoes of an ordinary survivor, just trying to escape. What makes this game stand out isn't flashy combat, it's the tension of survival. You carry water, manage stamina, and deal with crumbling buildings around every corner. The story feels raw, almost human, because you're not a superhero, just a person making impossible choices. In 2025, it still feels fresh because few games dare to slow down and make survival this grounded. It's clunky in places, but that's part of its charm. The awkwardness feels real. Every fall of debris, every broken bridge, makes your palms sweat, and it reminds you how fragile we really are in the face of nature. This game deserves a revisit because it was way ahead of its time. It's not just about survival, it's about empathy. That's why Disaster Report holds up. Released in 2002, Skygunner is one of the PS2's most beautiful hidden gems. It's an aerial dogfighting game, but with a whimsical, almost anime-like style. You pilot small aircraft through gorgeous, cel-shaded skies, battling pirates and rival pilots. It feels playful, yet challenging, with mechanics that reward skill and timing. The game was lighthearted, never taking itself too seriously, and that's its strength. The dogfights can get intense, but the art direction keeps you smiling. Back in 2002, it was easy to overlook next to bigger releases. But in 2025, it's refreshing. A reminder that games can be joyful without losing depth. Its colorful design holds up remarkably well on a modern screen, and the sense of freedom in those skies, still magical. It's one of those titles that feels like a time capsule worth opening again. Rule of Rose, released in 2006, is infamous for being one of the rarest and most misunderstood PS2 games. Set in 1930s England, you play as Jennifer, a young woman trapped in an orphanage ruled by cruel children. It's dark, unsettling, and deeply psychological. The combat is clumsy, but the storytelling is where it shines. Themes of trauma, innocence, and cruelty make it unforgettable. The eerie music alone sets a tone you'll never shake off. It caused controversy on release, which only pushed it deeper into obscurity. But beneath that, it's one of the boldest narrative experiments on the PS2. Playing it in 2025 feels like uncovering a secret the world wasn't ready for. It's haunting, sad, and unforgettable once you experience it. Rule of Rose isn't fun in the traditional sense. It's art wrapped in discomfort. That's why it still matters. Released in 2000 as one of the very first PS2 titles, Evergrace often gets lost in the shuffle of early launch games. Developed by From Software, long before their Dark Souls fame, it shows the studio experimenting with ideas that would later define their style. The game follows two protagonists, Darius and Charline, whose paths intertwine in a mysterious, cursed land. What made Evergrace stand out at the time was its equipment system. Armor and weapons not only changed stats, but also appearance and even story context. It's fascinating to see how design ideas in Evergrace foreshadowed elements of King's Field, Demon's Souls, and beyond. The storytelling is subtle, often delivered through item descriptions and environmental details, a trait Souls fans will recognize immediately. For RPG collectors, owning Evergrace is like having a missing puzzle piece in the history of Japanese action RPGs. It's also one of those games that feels more rewarding the deeper you go, even if the rough edges test your patience. Back in 2005, Rogue Galaxy landed on the PS2 and gave players a universe to explore that felt bigger than the console itself. At first glance, it looked like just another JRPG, but it quickly proved it had its own identity. You step into the shoes of Jaster Rogue, a young dreamer from a desert planet who suddenly finds himself caught up in a galactic adventure. What makes the game memorable is how it blends classic RPG storytelling with a sense of space opera wonder. The cel-shaded art style still looks striking today, giving the game a timeless, animated feel. Combat moves fast, letting you switch between characters and weapons without breaking the flow. There's also a sense of discovery in the planets you visit. Each one feels alive, with its own secrets waiting to be uncovered. It wasn't afraid to mix smaller, personal stories with the bigger picture of saving the galaxy. That balance is what makes the journey stick with you long after the credits roll. While Rogue Galaxy never became as famous as Final Fantasy or Dragon Quest, it carved out a space of its own. If you're enjoying this journey through forgotten PS2 gems, don't forget to hit that subscribe button. Your support helps keep these classics alive for new audiences. Lifeline, released in 2004, dared to try something wildly ambitious. It's a survival game where you control the main character entirely with your voice. You speak into the PS2 headset, giving her commands to fight, move, and survive. The tech was clunky, and sometimes she ignored you, but that was part of the charm. It felt immersive, like you were really helping her escape. You weren't playing as the hero, you were guiding her, which made every choice personal. The concept was way ahead of its time, something you'd expect decades later. In 2025, it feels experimental, bold, and charming despite its flaws. It reminds us that the PS2 era wasn't afraid to try the impossible. Lifeline might frustrate you, but it will also fascinate you. It's an unforgettable piece of gaming history.
Patrol of Prime Minister's Suite. 3 p.m.
Released in 2004, Q-On is From Software, before Dark Souls fame. It's a Japanese horror game set in the Heian period, with a story rooted in folklore. You explore a haunted mansion filled with spirits, curses, and grotesque monsters. The game is slow, eerie, and dripping with atmosphere. It's a reminder that From Software was experimenting long before their big hits. The visuals are dark and grainy, which only adds to the unease. Combat is clunky, but the horror lies in the mood, not the mechanics. Finding Q-On today is tough. It's one of the rarest PS2 titles. But in 2025, it's worth every second if you can track it down. It's not just a game, it's a chilling experience.
Strange noise.
In 2004, Michigan Report from Hell gave players something truly strange. You don't fight monsters, you film them. You're a cameraman for a TV crew, documenting a city overtaken by bizarre creatures. Your choices affect who survives and how the story unfolds. It's part survival horror, part found footage experiment. The framing through a camera lens makes it feel unique, Even now, sometimes it's awkward, but that's what makes it unforgettable. It captures the feeling of being powerless, but still responsible. In 2025, it stands out as a piece of interactive horror storytelling. It's not polished, but it's bold. And boldness is what makes hidden gems shine. Released in 2002, Mr. Mosquito is one of the strangest games ever made. You play as a mosquito buzzing around a Japanese family's house, feeding on their blood. The gameplay is part stealth, part puzzle, part absurd comedy. You dodge SWATs, sneak through rooms, and survive against giant humans. It's ridiculous, but also strangely addictive. The PS2 gave space for games like this. Ideas too odd for any other console. In 2025, it feels refreshing because it doesn't try to be realistic. It's fun because it's unapologetically weird, and that weirdness makes it unforgettable. Mr. Mosquito is proof that creativity sometimes thrives on absurdity. Closing our list, Eternal Poison, released in 2008, is a dark tactical RPG. It mixes gothic fantasy with strategic battles and deep character arcs. You lead different groups, each with their own storyline and choices. The art style is striking, moody, beautiful, and heavy with atmosphere. Combat is slower, but rewards careful planning. What makes it special is its multiple perspectives on the same world. It's layered storytelling, something rare in overlooked titles. In 2025, it's still worth playing for its depth and haunting presentation. It's not just a hidden gem, it's a lost treasure for RPG fans. And that wraps up our list of 10 PS2 hidden gems you should absolutely play in 2025. These games remind us that the PS2 wasn't just about blockbusters. It was a playground for creativity, risk-taking, and unforgettable experiences. Which one of these would you play first? Or do you have your own hidden gem we should cover next? Drop it in the comments, and don't forget to subscribe so you don't miss more deep dives into gaming history.